Hello everyone. In this video, we will be going over how to set up your gradebook in Schoology. Your first step is to go into your courses and pick the course for which you need to set up your gradebook and go down to the grade setup option on the left. There are two pieces to this setup process. First, you need to set up your categories, and second, you need to set up your grading terms, your periods and weights. Both of these things can be weighted independently of one another and will largely depend on what is appropriate for your class. If you have any questions about particularly your category weights and you're unsure of where to go to set those up or who to ask, talk to your department chair and they can give you some advice as to what categories to set up. So, the first step is to make sure that you have enough rows in the category section to account for all of the categories that you need. In this case, I have 3 categories: classwork, major assessments, and minor assessments. But in your class, you have the autonomy to determine which categories make the most sense. So you'll click Add here. You'll give a name to the category: homework, classwork, quiz, test, etc. You'll generally want it to be calculated by total points within that category. And you can choose whether you'd like to drop the lowest or not. This just tells you how many of the lowest assignments you would want to automatically not count in the grade. Weight, leave this alone, we generally recommend, because you're going to be weighting them outside of this category rather than within the category. After you've named the category, and set all of those settings, you can add it and it'll appear in this list. Now, once you've added all of the categories, you want to weight them appropriately. So you'll want to check this box up here and then you'll add the weight to the category. Now, in the case of this course, there are 3 equally weighted categories. Therefore, each of them has an equal weight here. However, if you wanted to weigh them differently, for instance, if you wanted your major assessments to be worth 50% of the grade, your minor assessments to be worth 30% of the grade, and your classwork to be worth 20% of the grade, you can do that. The important piece here is to make sure that your weights add up to 100, and if they do so, you'll see that the percentages match on the right-hand side. The star here just allows you to create a sort of preferred category for when you're creating assignments. You do not need to select any category specifically for that matter. Note that this is where you will also be adding your engagement grade worth 5% of the grade. If you have questions about that, talk to Bill Clausen or to your division folks. After you set up your categories here, you'll also want to make sure to set up your grade term weights. Now, the only real determination you have to make here is whether you want your course to have a final exam or not. Whether it's a semester course or a year-long course, the way that you set this up will determine how much the final exam is weighted. Now, this is different than what it looked like in previous iterations of the gradebook. In the past, we weighted semesters rather than quarters. However, here we're going to be weighting individual quarters. For many courses at Washington Latin that include a final exam, it is the same weight for each quarter as it is for the final exam. This is functionally the same as the 40-40-20 spread that we had in previous years. However, if you need to weight a course such that it is only worth 10% of your final grade, you actually have to fix it a little bit in order to do that. Now remember that that would mean it was equal to 45 semester. Each semester was worth 45%. Well, half of 45% is 22.5%. So the way that you would do this is 22.5, 22.5, etc., and then 10% for the final grade. for the final exam, I should say. Okay? If you don't have a final exam, you want your weight for the final exam to be 0, and then it will set all of the quarters, as long as they are equal to one another, to be the same. I'm just going to go back and revert this to 1 because it is a matter of ratios. And that gets me to 25, 25, 25 across the board. Okay, this applies to semester courses as well. If you do not have a final exam in your semester course, just add a 0 down for the weight for the final exam, and it will weigh everything out. If you have any questions about these specific numbers, please reach out. Thanks.